Hey, what's up everyone? James here, Converge Fitness, convergefit.com. I'm excited today to bring you some amazing resistance band exercises. Today, we're going to be looking at the shoulders. All right, so resistance bands are great because you can take them on the road, you can travel with them, you can do them at home. It doesn't matter where you are, they're cheap and they're a super effective way to exercise. So let's get right into it. First of all, we're gonna do an overhead press, okay? You don't have to have a barbell, you don't have to have dumbbells, you can do this with bands. This is an exercise that I recommend you do first in the workout because it uses the most amount of muscle groups. It includes the anterior delts, the medial delts, and a little bit of activation on the posterior delt as well. And it even actually brings in a little bit of the pectoralis minor into play up here on the top of your chest as well. You're gonna take the bands, hook them underneath your feet, and you're gonna mimic a military press motion, except you're holding on to bands. If you want it to be a little bit more difficult, just put a little bit more of the band underneath your foot, and there's actually gonna be more tension on the band when you start the exercise. If you want it to be a little bit easier, you can either use a lighter gauge band or you can actually just bend your knees a little bit so there's not quite as much tension on the band when you begin the exercise. All right, now let's look at the anterior delt, okay? This front part of your deltoid muscle. So to hit that a little bit more isolated, put the band underneath your feet. You're gonna grab onto the band in front of you and just lift your arms up with a straight arm, up slightly above your head. Then you're gonna slowly bring them down. I encourage you to fight the resistance as the bands are pulling you down. That's a key part of exercises that people often overlook. All right, next let's talk about the medial delt, the outside part of your shoulder muscle. I have two great exercises for this. One of them is actually my all-time favorite. Before we get to that one, a lateral raise. All right, so you're gonna take your resistance band, hook it underneath your feet, and just like you would with a dumbbell, you're gonna raise your arms out beside you. If you want it to be a little bit easier, again, you can either use a lower gauge of a resistance band or you can just bend your knees a little bit and then the resistance on the band won't be quite as much when you begin the exercise. If you want it to be more difficult, you can actually loop the band around both feet so you end up with more tension on the band before you begin the exercise. Next, let's talk about the posterior delt right in here. But not only that, we're actually gonna bring in the rotator cuff, which is a series of muscles that comes around the shoulder. And one of the things it does is it aids in rotation of the shoulder, okay? If you're rotating your shoulder, that's your rotator cuff in play. And it's an important thing to make sure you don't overlook, because a lot of people injure their rotator cuff because they ignore it. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna emulate a version of the face bulb. So you can mount your resistance bands to anything. If it's about head height, it can be a little bit more than head height. If it's a little bit lower, you know what, that's okay too. So mount your bands and grab onto them, one with each hand. What you're gonna do is you're gonna pull them back towards your face, but you're gonna make sure that you're keeping your elbows out, not dropping them down towards your side, but keep your elbows out. And then you're gonna pull your arms up, so it's kind of 90 degrees and then 90 degrees, okay? Out, and your arms up, and that gets some of that rotation. And then added rotation, you're actually gonna turn your thumbs so they point back behind your ears. So when you come back, your shoulders are gonna retract, you're gonna stay depressed, you're gonna rotate your arms, and you're gonna pull the bands right past your face. If you want it to be a little bit easier, what you can do is you can take another band, even if it's a higher gauge band, and you can attach it to your anchor point. You can attach your lighter gauge bands to that. Now it's gonna give you some extra play, make it a little bit easier to pull that back and perform your face pulls. All right, now lastly, we're gonna do my all-time favorite shoulder exercise. More than any barbell, dumbbell, body weight exercise, my favorite shoulder exercise is done with a band. And this one gives us a really unique opportunity to work the medial delt, the outside of the delt here, and we can overload it and stretch it at the same time. Now, this is something I haven't found in any other exercise. So what's gonna happen, you can mount your band to something on the floor, something that's not gonna move. So with your outside hand, you're gonna grab the resistance band so the band is traveling behind your back. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna do a lateral raise, and you're gonna hold it. Now as you hold it, you need to walk yourself away from where you have your band mounted. The further away you walk, the harder it's gonna be to keep your arm from falling. See, muscles can actually handle more weight on the eccentric part of the motion than they can on the concentric part of the motion. So the great thing about this is that you have enough strength to raise your arm, and then as you walk away and it gets more and more challenging to hold your arm up there, your arm's gonna start to drop, but you're just gonna fight it. Fight it the entire way, and once you've walked far enough away, your arm has dropped all the way back and is sitting behind your body. Now slowly walk back towards your anchor point. While doing that, you're continually trying to raise your arm up beside you. Once you get close enough to the anchor point, you're gonna be able to raise your arm out, and then you walk back again. So you're overloading that muscle. You're actually giving it more weight, more tension on that muscle, making it do something that it's not used to doing, and then your muscles adapt, and they adapt by growing and getting stronger. You're gonna feel the burn in there unlike any other exercise you do for the medial delt, and you have tension on it when the muscle's at a stretched position. I don't find that in hardly any other exercise for the medial delt. That's why this is my all-time favorite exercise for my shoulders, and it's done with a band. Hey, thanks a lot for watching. Really appreciate it. If there's anything you'd like me to cover, please leave it in the comments below. If this video was helpful, click the thumbs up, subscribe. Don't forget to turn notifications on so you never miss a video when it's published. Thanks, I'll be back in a few days.